Oakland Vallejo, the Bay Area, stand up. I'm from that town. She from Vallejo. Said let's collab. She said okay. We all should play. Hot potato. Whoever got the hottest challenge accepted. It's me, I'm the best. Like creative players on hunters, no less. The lines in your forehead just told me you stressed it. Got G-O-D on me side. Ooh, he blessed me. All these lies they tell it's a vaccine. They're acting it's so bad like it's wrestling. Keep my circle so small it's insane. If you made the cut then you're part of my team. Just like blowing that pint called strikes don't cut her. Attracted to the mind but I like mine's hooder. She gotta have a pretty face too.
I wonder how she'll age. Look at her mother. That's my jam. His favorite color green, but I'll settle for blue. I like that song, y'all. The intro song is also B3ST. The song is called Let's Fucking Clap. Anywho, welcome to the channel. I am Mrs. Best. We are here today to do a reality TV recap. We will be recapping 90 Day The Single Life. The season has ended. My goodness, you know, it premiered on January 1st. So I'm like, for the season to just now be ending is like, whoa, that's like 4 months. Crazy. Anyway, this is Tell All Part 3, the recap and review for that episode. I appreciate everybody for being here. It means the world to have people engaged. And if you are a part of the replay gang, I appreciate you for rewatching this or watching it if it's your first time. I just want to shout y'all out, Thug Life, and thank you for the support. If you are interested in how you can send suggestions and things, it is scrolling across the bottom of your screen. So let's jump into this tell all. And I also was like surprised. This is my first time really watching a 90 Day The Single Life like thoroughly, like from beginning to end. And I'm like, how many parts is the doggone tell all supposed to be? Because this is part 3. And then we still have another episode that we're going to have to watch next week. There's going to be a part 4 as well. So I'm just kind of looking like, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. But without further ado, let's jump into it. So we pick up from Natalie, who is freaking out because, she's freaking out on Josh. Natalie had a tumultuous storyline. She gave off gold digger vibes, like she's just looking for a man that will take care of her. I do think Nat wants to find love, but I also feel like she wants to find love and stability. She doesn't just want love with any Joe Schmo. Like, you got to have some money and be able to do something for her. I wish that she would admit that because it might make her look less gold diggerish. But Natalie also lacks accountability and common sense. So she's freaking out on Josh. She says that LA is impossible. He should be helping her. Honey, LA is impossible. California is impossible. Been here my whole entire life. If you feel like it's fucking impossible, you can leave. That's what you really can do. Don't care to have you here in the first place. If you want to be in California, you'll be in California. I'm pretty sure New York is like that too. When places are expensive, you have the mindset to hustle. You're just always doing something. You're always doing something. Even when I was not working, while I went to school and got a degree. And then while waiting to find a job in my degree field, I was still doing other things. Like Californians, New Yorkers, like when you live somewhere expensive, you have to keep a hustle and you have to keep busy. And the fact that Natalie is whining about that irks me. Imagine being from here and struggling to live where you're from. Shut up, Natalie, please. She gets on my nerves with that. So in my opinion, Natalie also is crying about all the stuff with Josh. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You left Michael to go with this man and it didn't work out. You put all your eggs in one basket and you should not have done that. Gain some independence and woman the hell up, Natalie. So Josh's friends are out there. They're the ones that had the strong opinions about her, kind of being like the save-a-ho with the Captain Save-a-ho. And his friends explain again when asked that Josh has a habit of giving too much when it comes to relationships and people in general, but especially in relationships. It shouldn't be that way. It should be give and take. I wish they would ask Natalie, the host or something, Josh does all of this, even when he doesn't want to. What do you do for him? That's not sex. What do you do for Josh? Please explain it, Natalie, because nobody is seeing it. She's so focused on what he's not doing for her or what he needs to do more of that she can't say what she could do for this man at all her damn self. Makes no stinking sense, you guys. So they move on to Natalie breaking up with Josh, but she did eventually come to break up with him, but I believe he was going to break up with her as well. And she says that she was honest with Josh about wanting a child. And, you know, Josh stops and interrupts and is like, why are we talking about this? We're not even in a relationship. So why are we discussing a child? And I think that's also a piece of Natalie's problem. She wants to skip steps. And you can't just constantly be skipping steps and things like that. Like, especially in the matters of love and relationships, like you cannot skip steps no matter how much you want to or feel it to be necessary. You just cannot do that. So he makes that comment, and I agree. They should not be discussing making a family at all. So since she can't get her way with that, she demands to him, and this is a fair question, what are we? What's our status? And he says that Natalie can never give a clear, definitive answer on what she wants from him. And so because of that, they don't really have a status. They're just sleeping together is what I get from it. But he don't want to say that because he knows it looks bad. But Natalie is agreeing to sleep with this man with no status. So are we really going to come at him about what she's doing? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem fair. It doesn't make sense. I think that Josh and Natalie are lacking accountability in areas that are necessary in order for them to like really take the leap and do the serious relationship thing or, you know, break up. But I definitely feel like they are both lacking accountability that could help them. And Miss Debbie chimes in and makes a good point. She's like, Josh is a good person, but he's wishy-washy, which was the perfect way to describe what he is. I've said this the whole season when recapping it, y'all. Josh is wishy-washy as hell. And I hate people like this, man or female. When it comes to dating and sex, consent goes further than just, yes, I'm okay with sleeping with you. Like, if you know you're someone who's going to get attached, or if you're sleeping with someone when you really want to have a family, then you need to make sure that this person's okay with that ahead of time. Natalie and Josh are just doing stupid shit, and that's what it is. I also think Natalie expects way too much out of Josh. Being with Natalie, the way that she describes it and the things she expects is like having a child. You have to pay their rent. You have to remind them to brush their teeth. You have to get the groceries, buy them a car, teach them to drive, help them do a resume. Like Natalie, I'm not trying to be mean. I know that to some extent she's self-sufficient because she survived in Florida. But when she's with Josh and when she was with Michael, she acts like she has no ability to be self-sufficient. And that irritates the hell out of me. And it's also part of why I don't feel sorry for her, like 99.99999.99% of the time. Now, Debbie gets really upset for Natalie when Josh is not keeping it real with her, but not for Chantel. I think Miss Debbie might have a little bit of racial bias. I'm just going to say that. I think it's a thought because you come down on Chantel about her clothes and the things that she's doing. When Natalie comes out in a dress shorter than that, you see no issue with it. Natalie is literally hopping from eggplant emoji to eggplant emoji just based on who will pay her rent, when meanwhile Chantel can pay her own rent. So I just wanted to clarify that. Chantel's a dingbat too, but I don't like how Debbie was all feeling sorry for Natalie, who chose all of this and put herself into it, but attacked Chantel, who actually was experiencing divorce and pain. I don't like that. Anywho, I also want to know why in the fudge was nobody telling Natalie about herself? No one said, well, what do you expect when you're sleeping with dudes and talking about, you know, material, monetary things versus, oh, I love how he looks and how he holds me. I'm excited to be close. From the moment she knew she was going to California, it wasn't, I'm excited to be with Josh. It was, I can make my dreams come true. He's going to help me buy this. He's going to pay for that. And he's going to get me a job. She did not want to be with him. She wanted to be with the idea of him and what he can do for her. That's how I feel. And it's like, baby, welcome to California. You wanted you a movie guy. You got one. That's for damn sure. Do me a favor, you guys, if you are still here or if you're watching our live replay, like the video. It's an easy way to support the channel and all that we do so that we can continue to improve for you guys. Now, Tim made the best point, and this is why I like Tim. I feel like Tim needs to be hosting the reunion because this other lady's trash. Tim asked all the right questions throughout every part of the tell-all, parts 1, 2, and 3 thus far. And Tim said that Natalie is wrong about some things. He said that Josh is not a bad guy, you know, but at the same time, this man, making it seem like, woe is me, I'm such a victim. But whenever she needs Josh, he picks up the phone and he comes and helps her. So for her to make him seem bad was ugh. And you have choices as an adult, especially in America. You just do. So you could have chose to stop dealing with him or chose to not allow him to treat you that way. I believe when it comes to relationships of any sort, people do what we allow them to do to us. If you make it clear that you're not going to deal with that, most people won't do that. Or if they're liars, they'll find a shady way to do it without you knowing. But, you know, people do what you allow them to do. And she accepted all of this. So she gets, and, you know, she starts freaking out on Josh because she's called a charity case by his friends and those things. But you are. A charity case is someone who's just constantly asking for money, someone who needs help. All you express the whole season, Natalie, is that you want Josh to pay for your house, your car, get your job. What do you call it? And then according to his friends, they can't get through screenwriting moments and they can't handle their business because you're calling constantly because you need something. It's like you don't know how to do shit for yourself. So yeah, that's probably why he's not showing you his house and things like that. Not just the kid. He might come home and the house burned down because she thought the stove was the light switch. You just never know with Natalie. So, you know, it is what it is. You don't want to be called a charity case. Don't ask for money. You don't want to be, you know, called a gold digger. Then show that you want someone for more than their money. You can't say this man is going to pay for house, home, car, food, and needs to find you a job, pay for your mama's life, do all this stuff, and then not think that you don't look like a gold digger or a charity case because you haven't said one thing you like about him other than his paycheck, darling. So that's all I can say about that. As a whole, y'all, I think this couple is toxic. We do see Josh pull her aside, and this shows why Natalie can't find a man or keep one. Well, she could find one because she's beautiful, but she can't keep one. He tried to pull her aside so that they could talk. He could not get a single word in. She just kept asking him questions and then not letting him answer it. They're toxic, and until Natalie grows up and learns how to be an adult and a real woman and handle her own shit, I don't think this couple is going to make it. And I also think, and I know this is probably bad to say, but it's a turnoff to a man or a woman to get with someone who is entirely unable to do for themselves in any way. My husband pays our rent. I don't pay rent. Thank you to my love, by the way. But he knows that if something were to happen, I know how to do so and could get a job on my own to do that. You should at least be able to do that. The girl ain't, but then again, Natalie thinks that she's going to be an actress in America where we speak English, speaking Ukrainian. We don't understand what you're saying. We don't. Anywho, they are toxic. I'm going to move on from that. Do me a favor and like the video if you haven't already. I greatly, greatly appreciate you for doing so. Moving on, we then see Tyree. And I'm like, why are we moving back to Tyree? Because I thought we went over his segment. He didn't have much to go on the show while on camera. But they move on to discuss the fact that he's never had a girlfriend. In addition to him being a virgin, he's never had a girlfriend. He's not had a first kiss, nothing. He's like a virgin at everything. And I don't think we should make fun of him for that because for some people, it just doesn't happen. And some people choose to avoid it. But nonetheless, it's their business. Who cares who's had sex and who hasn't? It doesn't make anyone cooler or less cool. So why does it matter? You know? But they get into it and it's really sad because he says he has trust issues and he thinks that's part of the reason he's never had a girlfriend. And in my head, I know this is petty, but I was like, how the hell you got trust issues pertaining to a relationship when you've never had one? That's kind of like, my God, are you that afraid? It's scary. You might get stressed out, but it's not that bad. It's okay to try and date and things like that because now you're doing all this late and you got to catch up. That's the only downside to it. So they discussed Tiffany. That's the heifer that stood him up after acting like she was interested and then stood him up when he asked her on a date and all this extra stuff. And, you know, he says he still to this day has no clue why she ghosted him. He has not heard back from her. Now, I thought that Tiffany was cool with his cousins and stuff. I'm like, has your cousins heard anything? Like, what's good? I felt like Tyree could have told us a little bit more. And I don't really want him to come back on the show if we're not going to get, like, I can't just keep watching him try to date. It's difficult. I feel like they could give him his own spinoff or something for that. Because it just doesn't, it's a little odd and it doesn't fit into me with this show's concept. Because the single life should be you being single and, trying to date. You're not going to meet the love of your life in another state. You're just not, in my opinion. But when asked if he has any prospects of people that he wants to date, potential interests, he says that he did meet someone while he was in New Orleans while filming. And he says that it's nothing serious, but they've been talking. He did say he can't remember her actual name because they are online. They have like an online affair type of thing. But the show is like, her name is Shannon. He's like, oh, snap. Tyree, rule number 1 of dating, baby. Remember the name of the girl that you're dating. And this goes to anybody. If you like people who are polka dot, if you like trans people, if you are straight, whatever the hell, remember the name of those you want to date. Not their rap name, not their nickname, their government name. You should at least know the first one. I don't know what's happening. I haven't dated since 2009, but apparently this is what people are doing. So he don't remember the girl's name. And I'm like, well, maybe that's why girls aren't that interested in you. That nervous laugh, and you can't even remember her name. But she comes out, Miss Shannon, and they give a hug. It was a little awkward at first, but Shannon says that she's the one who initiated the interaction and relationship between her and Tyree, and says that she would love to meet up with him, likes him a lot. She says really kind things. It seems like she's genuinely interested. But she says that whenever she wants to meet up and things like that, he's the reason it's not happening. And Tyree stopped drinking too much, meeting people. He said he was drunk and didn't remember her name. She doesn't seem bothered by the fact, though, that he didn't remember her name. I would never talk to a man again if he forgot my name but claimed to want to date me. Like, I'm sorry, we're just not going to talk. If you can't remember my name, you'll do some shit like forget a birthday and anniversary to pick up our kid. I don't have time for that. Anywho, he avoids meeting up because he says he wasn't ready. But Tim, this is why I feel like Tim should have hosted the reunion, because TLC reunion hosts be shitty. They suck. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Tim asked Tyree asked Shannon what we all want to know. Are you okay with the fact that Tyree is a virgin? She says she does not mind it. And she also says she wouldn't mind being his first kiss. She really likes them. So they asked, would he do a first kiss? And, she seems excited. He gets his first kiss. We got to watch it on TV, and he goes off the stage because he wants to talk to her a little bit. And the next segment starts, without him. Tyree, I want you to step outside of your shell or stop bullshitting us, because, yeah, it's almost like he needed the kiss to move forward. I don't think he knows how to get out of the friend zone. And I hope this young lady and him do work out. So while he is in the back, they move on to another segment, and Chantel is supposedly to give us twerk lessons. Miss Debbie's looking at her crazy. Miss Debbie, if you think Chantel's weak, stiff twerking is, if you think that's nasty, I would hate to see how you feel about the little rappers, Lotto, Megan Thee Stallion, whatever other ones there are. I would love to see how you felt about that, because Chantel had the stiffest twerk known to man. Chantel had a twerk stiffer than my internet modem. It did not make no sense. It's in the back. No, yes, a part of it's in the back, but your ass is supposed to move. I don't know what the hell Chantel was thinking, y'all, but that was her little twerk. She made a fool of herself doing that twerk, and her outfit was not the best. Anywho, John and his vibrators was weird. I guess good for you. I want my man to be able to please me without the vibrator, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not against them, but it's like, can you get her off without it? I'm just curious, John. It's kind of strange to be walking around, but I was glad that they clarified that they were all sealed and brand new. Natalie plays a vampire in her language. I don't think she's a good actress. I feel like she would be better doing like Broadway. I feel like she'd do well in Macbeth. That is a play. For those who are unsure, I feel like she would do good in Macbeth, or what is it? Les Miserables, I think it's called. She would do good in like stuff like that, but I don't know if I could see her in like mainstream anything unless she's like an extra. Just the truth. But I do think she would be very good in Broadway. And Chantel tells her what we was all thinking. You got to learn that in English, and then, you can go somewhere. And Natalie appreciated that. So after we get over that pointless segment, Tyree comes back on stage, and we learn he got a second kiss. I wanted to Hercules. I was so happy that he got his kiss. When I tell y'all that me and my husband applauded while watching to the TV while watching this, because it's like, my God, he finally touched the lip. I mean, that is one step closer just to that intimacy that you can get from someone you're interested in romantically. Like, it's a wonderful thing. So shout out to you, Tyray. I'm glad you got your first kiss. Yeah, he's big. Yeah, he has a nervous laugh, but I think that he is a handsome young man. He seems kind and he has a lot to offer. Not all these girls are hoes looking for your check or, just a status or whatever. Not everyone's doing that. So we move on to John's storyline, y'all. We move on to John's storyline. We haven't gone over him yet. John was the one who is the brother of Patrick, who has a girl. They are on 90 Day Happily Ever After right now. I am not recapping that because they all getting on my nerves, especially the chick. I can't remember her name right now, but the chick who has her partner that moved to be with her from Egypt, and he was upset that she was in a crop top, and then he's upset at the neighborhood. He just don't like nothing about America. I said, I cannot, because that girl acted slow. But his brother and his wife are on 90 Day Happily Ever After for those interested. Now, we find out that John has bonded with Megan's daughter, which I think is a beautiful thing. He seems to enjoy her and has gotten close. Megan comes out and the vibe changes. You can tell that everyone's uncomfortable, and she seemed nicer and more relaxed on the season than she did in person. Megan comes out and she basically confirms John is a family man. He is at home with her. He is working. He's done everything he said that he would do. He moved there for her. He got a job. He's there for the child. So then they bring out his brother Patrick, who I can't stand, and his head looked like it's ready to shrink into his body. Y'all ever play video games and you play it online or something and the head to your character gets really small? It's like a little glitch that you can still play through. That's what Patrick's head looks like and reminds me of. I also feel like he's not very endowed. I'm sorry I'm saying it. Just a personal opinion. But his brother comes out and says that he still doesn't think that John is ready to be a step parent. He was extremely negative. Like, the way you don't need enemies in life when you have a brother like Patrick. There's no reason to hate on your brother like this. And he's been this way from the very beginning before meeting Megan. So I know later on he speaks about her a little bit, but there's no reason for you to be this negative. But he doesn't think John's ready to be in a relationship. My thing is, at least wish your brother well, bro. Like, I don't think that this is your person, but I hope that it works out for you. His brother never even said that. He seemed unmoved by the fact that John is a good step parent. He called his brother a 39-year-old child and says that he has no regrets for anything that he said and took no accountability. You don't need enemies when you have family like Patrick, because you don't have to agree with who your loved ones, your siblings, your cousins, your moms, your parents, whoever. You don't have to agree with who your loved ones date. However, you can also say, I hope I'm proven wrong. I have some friends and people in my life who always make stupid choices with who they date. And I always think to myself, like, I hope you prove me wrong. Like, I hope this man proves me wrong. They usually don't. But, you still hope that your friend can find someone who's good to them. Tim jumped in again, being the person who is the voice of reason in terms of hosting a tell-all, aka reunion episode. Tim asked Patrick, were there any red flags for Megan? Because, like, you obviously are against this, and it's like, that's the right question to ask. And once again, shout out to you, Tim. Patrick says that Megan is jealous, and it comes out when John vents to Patrick about Megan, and she apparently just has major trust issues. And personally, I feel like Megan and John are hiding a lot. The energy when they came out, it made everybody on the stage uncomfortable. When your trust issues are so bad that everyone on stage is uncomfortable, and we saw them at the beginning of the tell-all in the first part one talking about, we don't want your man, girl. They don't want him. Megan does seem jealous. She gives off that vibe. I do think someone probably hurt her really bad in the relationship, and now it's damaged her. and John just happens to be the man who will deal with it. I do think that John loves her, but my goodness. But she does admit to having trust issues, because not only did John say that Megan's red flags are that, but he says that Megan has to have location. She's calling John home from work when he's working. She doesn't trust shit that he's doing, to where John is calling his brother the vent. He should be able to do that. It's not healthy to need a location for your spouse. There was a girl I used to know out here in the Bay Area in San Mateo, and she was slow. Her dude used to they used to get into it because she wanted his location all the time, because she was afraid that he would cheat on her because she got him while cheating. Listen, I've never heard people be like, oh, have my location in a healthy way. My husband doesn't have mine, but like when we're at events and stuff, I'll send it to him, or if he wants to know where I'm at, because we have one car, so there's switching and all of that happens. I'll just drop it, so it's like, okay, do the switch. But the way that they're using locations is just not healthy. I think that she wants to look good, and they're hiding a lot, but I do think there's love there. You know, they're together, they're in the house, he's good with the daughter. Seems like the only problems are her little trust issues, which if he's a homebody and a family man, he's going to be home. And Megan and John defended that too. His brother's like, they don't do much. And, you know, John's like, I just want to, like, we're homebodies. We like to chill with each other. Those are the healthy relationships. It's very rare. Them couples that's in the club every weekend, I'm telling you, when they're not in the club, it's a problem. That's probably why they're there every weekend. If you're really with the right person, you should be able to just chill in the house and be fine. His brother also tried to expose John for not liking San Antonio. The people who live there don't really fully like it. There's not much there. It is less developed than cities like Boston or Vegas, which are both where he came from. If you move somewhere like that, like I'm in the Bay Area, been here my whole life. If I was to move to San Antonio, and I have been there, I said when I visited too, I don't think I could live here. And I had to work there for like a week. I don't think I could live there, because though there's a lot to those people in the city, someone coming from a big metropolitan area, that San Antonio doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't. Has nothing to do with Texas, because I go to Houston or Dallas, but San Antonio does not do it for me. Though I know they have a good economy and affordable rent and things like that, but they also have other problems. But anywho, he doesn't like it, but sometimes when you're in a relationship, people do things they don't like. Patrick has some nerve talking about John's relationship when I seen so you don't happily ever. Patrick is not perfect by any means as a partner. His relationship's not perfect. Hell, his wife is still learning to speak his language fluently. So I'm sure there are communication issues that happen because of that. Nobody's relationship is perfect, but as family members support each other. So Megan says, then asked if she trusts Don. She says 99% she trusts him. She does seem emotionally manipulative, and she tried and had an excuse for everything that they said. Why do you need to check locations? Oh, because of, and I only do that because of. Megan, just say that you hurt. You don't trust anything, because it makes no sense that you guys were doing fine when you were long distance. But now that he lives with you in the city where he knows no one, now you don't trust him and worry he's cheating or something. She definitely has trust issues. Someone hurt her. She needs to work through them so that those trust issues don't destroy the relationship that she has with this man. That's just how it should be. So we can all agree there's toxicity in their relationship, even though they disagree. But they asked Patrick what he's heard about timelines in the relationship, in the relationship. And Patrick is still exposing drama. Says John hates San Antonio, doesn't know if he'll marry Megan. And that's when John gets up, and I knew he would be the one to propose, because I was like, we know it's not Natalie. I wouldn't propose to her either. She's a cheap hoe, basically. We know it's not Chantel, because she's too thirsty to have an engagement right now. Miss Debbie, we already know things are with her and Ruben, and, you know, older people take their time doing stuff. I just feel like it had to have been him. And he was turning red when asking about engagement. So I was like, oh, he's nervous. So he says he's not a timeline guy, and Megan settles. I thought she would go off on him, but she was like, yeah, I want an engagement in a year and a half, or we're going to have to discuss some things. I think that's fair. I think more people need to do that. We're not just going to be wasting our time, especially when I have a child that is looking at me as an example. I need to show her to hold your boundaries firm and, allow somebody to make you a wife, should I say. So, I think that Megan's timeline is fair, even though his brother was looking at her like, see. She said we would have to discuss some things like, what are we doing? No, she didn't say that she would break up with him if she didn't get married. That means she do like living with him. Listen, their relationship's not perfect and has toxicity, but they definitely want to be together. So John then proposes, and his brother, when he proposes, immediately shakes his head. I think his brother is used to John being the sibling who's partying or slightly irresponsible. And I don't think his brother wants that spotlight taken off of him. Because why can you be married to this chick that you barely know, that you met across the world, but he can't be married to the chick that he met, talked to for a year, then was with for 6 months, and then moved to them? He did things the right way, but Patrick didn't. Patrick, take your bobbleheaded ass somewhere and go do some lessons with your wife. I don't understand it. But he proposes. I think it's interesting. His brother looks upset. You said your brother's irresponsible, but he has a job. You said he couldn't be a parent, but he's raising Megan's daughter. You said all these things, and your brother's doing well. And so what if he doesn't have a kid? He also made it clear we're not using protection, and we're both prepared that if someone gets pregnant, we're going to have kids together. I think John and Megan will be all right, personally. I think his brother is doing too much. I know people be like, oh, your brother knows you, but when you become adults, your siblings should not be involved in your dating life to that extent. Be there to vent and nothing else. Be there to vent and nothing else. That's why people who are close to their families always end up divorced, because they don't know how to tell them to stay out their relationship. Anyhow, that is it for this recap of 90 Day, The Single Life. That was the Tell All Part 3. I am very, very happy that we are moving it on along. It looks like there will be a Tell All Part 4 as well. As the next Tell All episode comes out, I will be recapping that. Do me a favor if you haven't already, like the video. It is a free way to support the channel. It helps us. If you want to donate or any of that as well, there are links in the description of the video, as well as information going across. It should be going across the bottom of your screens. Shout out to everybody who watches on Twitch and follows me there as well. I appreciate y'all. The live shout out to the replay gang who watches our live replays once we're not live anymore. I appreciate all of you guys and hope that you continue watching. If you have questions, comments, feedback, or concerns, feel free to email MizzesB3STReviews@gmail.com. The next live that we'll have on this channel is going to be a song review, y'all. So I will tap into the song review in about 30 minutes. We are going to end this live listening to Oh So Best and XO Avaka. This is from their EP, which dropped in March, titled Sincerely XO and Oso. We're going to listen to the song Light by these artists. Love and light to you all, and I hope you all have a very, very, very good night. Adios.
I just wanna find you, always on my mind. I just wanna vibe, but you're always on my mind. So I get high to pass time, baby. You are my life, yeah. 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 You are my life, yeah.
You shine bright like a diamond when my power's off. Suffocate me with your love, you're my beautiful sauce. Please do not think that I'm crazy, but I'm the man that I am, cause you held me. Tell me lady, you're my shawty, you're my broken, you work for me. Like a ruby, you steady shining. You just tested my life, perfect timing.
Yeah, I love you more than you know. Yeah, you got me feeling special. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm a handful. Yeah, thank you for saying that I'm handsome. Yeah, looking in your eyes and you're beautiful. Right, and I love you in a handle. Baby, you are my life. Baby, you are my life.
Okay.
I just wanna vibe, but you're always on my mind. So I get high to pass time, baby. You are my life, yeah. 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 Needing your love like now, keeping my life like wow. No longer lost, not found, since you came around.
okay.
I just wanna